Hi, Mako.
Hey, Julia, good to see you.
Good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah, here in a little bit, still summer here, although the maple trees, Armstrong maples are turning leaf color. So summer is almost over. It's amazing.
Wow. There's summer is just heating up here.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
still have a couple more months.
I know. Yeah, I remember that in California, and but then winter is a kind of a cooler season. So yeah.
Yeah. But what else are you noticing? You mentioned the maple trees are shifting.
Well, monarch butterflies migrating, and right in front of me is this field that we have left uncut, and these milkweeds grow just naturally here. And I didn't know until a friend came over and noticed, wow, that's a good sign when milkweeds grow just naturally. And I haven't cut them, so turns out to be a great place for monarch butterflies. And so we've seen a few, and hope to see more in coming
Yeah,
days. It's migration season.
yeah. Good to have pollinator friendly spaces.
Absolutely. And I planted some sunflowers that are before they cultivate sunflowers into these, Van Gogh sunflowers that we know. Uh, there are several species that are actually good for butterflies, and one is called Maximilian sunflowers. They're a little bit smaller, so they love the soil here, so that they kind of keep expanding, which I don't mind. And I'm just going to guide them a little bit to create a little path with them. And they're just gorgeous right now in yellow.
That's so wonderful. Are you planning any bulbs to purchase right now to plant in the next month or so for next spring?
It would be a typical time to do so. And now I'm at a place where I've been intentionally planting and finding out what works here.
Hmm.
And it seems like I can cultivate things. We have a fenced-in area where we can grow flowers and also vegetables, but that deers won't get to. Uh, as you know, they eat everything. So and I test a few things that they don't eat as well. So I'm finding out that you can actually cultivate a lot. Lavenders, for example, um, you can cut them and then let the roots grow and replant them and expand. So I've been doing a lot of that. I bought a few bulbs like tulips and things like that. You have to purchase. They don't. Grow as much, or at least I haven't been able to successfully. Um, but yeah, so it's an interesting slow discovery is uh, learning first of all what the soil is like here, and then see what grows naturally, and since I travel a lot, I can't be overly precise about taking care of them at certain seasons. And now the autumn here, goldenrods are coming out, and I've been just naturalizing them as well. Unfortunately, deers like them too, so they have to be cultivated. But yeah, so a lot to learn from our soil.
Yeah. And it's so it and the time it takes and
Yeah.
living with the land and seeing, oh, what can sustain
Yeah.
itself here.
Yeah. So interesting, right? I spent a lot of time in New York City before coming here. it took me really 3 to 5 years to really understand the land. And reading people like Wendell Berry, they always say, well, don't, dictate what you want to do with the land. Ask the land what it wants to become.
Mhm.
And it took me 3 years to do that, maybe 5 years to actually hear what the land was saying. And these milkweeds are probably part of that because I feel like, oh, once you let it grow, basically leaving it untouched, but the ecosystem has its own way of reshaping itself every year. And anybody who gardens know that plants move.
Mhm.
They'll tell you like they don't like it here, and they'll move to a place where they like to be. And so it's been just fascinating over the seasons to listen to what they're saying.
Mhm. And there's so much crossover with how you have to listen to your materials.
Absolutely. Yeah. Uh, it's the same rhythm, whether you're outside tending to your tomatoes or inside tending to your paintings. They have a same rhythm, and as you know, when I work, I'm highly sensitized to the atmospheric moisture level and even pressure. Hide glue, Japanese hide glue works differently, dries differently. So you can't do certain things when the rain is coming, and you can do certain things when rain's moving away. And so there's patterns of how plants are nurtured and ground, the soil is cultivated, and how you are mixing animal hide glue with minerals, and you feel in your fingertips how the mixture is going to be, and depending on the surface, paper or porcelain linen or whatever you're using, it works differently. It's going to flow differently. It's going to dry differently. So I have learned to be attuned to, realities that perhaps we don't think about when we say we're painting. Um, there's a lot of what nature brings to us, and Japanese materials are highly sensitive to that as well.
Yeah. So what have you been working on?
So as you can see all around me, there are canvases, there are things happening. I just completed a commission which is going to settle for a few months before it goes to the final destination. Um, my helpers are getting ready for works to be photographed, uh, which is kind of a big deal here because I have been working on the Psalm paintings, as you know. Your voice reading these Psalms, translated by Dr. Ellen Davis, is read by you, and I listen to that every morning. Uh, Working on one Psalm a month, 48 by 48 size, so it's very large. And of course, you don't necessarily think through as an artist, like, oh, there's going to be 150 paintings, like, where are you going to store them? And of course, Hedge, my wife, is like, where are we going to store them? And so we came up with a plan with Jacob and now Mariah, a new helper here, to map out, a storage space, clear away space. So I've done over 80 paintings now, which is amazing. More than halfway done, and I don't work in sequence, so there are, Psalm 1, Psalm 50, and then I'm working my way in. And probably Psalm 119, the longest psalm, is the last one. I'll do. That may be several paintings, I don't know. But it's going to take me 14 years at least, maybe 15. And but you have to archive them, photograph them, done it professionally. So, to do that, if you have 80 paintings, you have to plan ahead, clear the garage, use the space that has been created for these quieter space for these paintings to resonate. So I can kind of isolate them, which makes a perfect photo studio. And so we have a professional photographer come and take them with proper lighting and all of that, which is something that starting out, you do all of that yourself. Um, but now I feel like I'm part of an ecosystem of artisans who are really good at it. Like I wouldn't probably know the details that this photographer knows about how to light them and to maximize the photograph for printing purposes.
Mhm.
And that takes quite a bit of skill and a great camera, right? So we're getting ready for that today.
So exciting.
I know.
The thing that they don't tell you about being a contemporary artist or an artist at any time
Yeah,
is the amount of logistics that goes into
absolutely.
getting the work out there.
Absolutely. And they don't equip you for any of that, right? In art schools, some art schools started to do this, but you need an accounting class because you're entrepreneurial business person, and you have to figure out the cash flow. You have to figure out, you probably need a lesson in creating passive income, for example, so you're not so dependent on just, trying to sell your work to survive. You need so many things, the skill sets that um, typical entrepreneur or any entrepreneur will need. You need this, um, somebody to guide you in marketing. You need, branding. You need all of these things. And now galleries are supposed to help you with that. But as you know, and I know, gallery scene has changed quite a bit and is continue to morph. And very few galleries are able to help an artist start their careers. Um, Perhaps, there are galleries that would take an established artist and carry their works, but it's very hard to find galleries that would be very intentional in creating the future for with an artist. Um, so, I always advocate for galleries to have, at least a 10-year plan for an artist if you're gonna work with an artist, and because you have ups and downs. It's not a short cycle of art fairs. And digital media has changed quite a bit of how we do art and our relationship with, clients and collectors. And so those are things that we have no idea, graduating from university with an art degree or art schools. I know some has tried to create ways, but it really requires a long-term mentoring and guiding because it's something that is so complex and it's so complex because it keeps changing.
Yeah. And even if an art school is prepping students, what they need upon graduation could be totally different 5 years from
Absolutely.
now.
Absolutely. And if you flip that, you can say the same thing for engineering today, right? An engineer
Yeah.
coming into a typical engineering school 4 or 5 years later is not guaranteed
Yeah.
of a job anymore because things keep shifting and entry positions are disappearing because of, technology and AI and all that. I think that it will kind of settle itself eventually where you actually do need a human understanding of the system to be able to be an engineer. But there's no guarantee. Typical career is at least seven transitions, seven jobs, seven, and oftentimes different types of jobs. Art school, which I struggled with for a long time, trying to understand what is the best art education. Is it art schools? I don't think so because of various factors. That's my bias. What would it be? And I think the best thing that can equip a person is, go to a liberal arts school with vast different options and just test out your interests and skill sets. It's learn what you're not good at, basically, and then find nimbleness and flexibility and creativity and develop your intuition in collaborative settings rather than skill sets. Because, if you, for instance, if you learn to do theater, if you learn to struggle with, you know, different types of people on the same stage and try to pull the production together, then you learn more about teamwork, right? Sports is another one, but if you can find a place where sports is not just transactional, way to uh, some professionalized way of playing sports, but it's really a way to test out creativity and imagination in a group setting. Then you learn how to navigate this really complex and ever-changing world, and we need more of those skills accompanied by professional skills like accounting and marketing and things like that. But as you note, even those things are shifting every minute, and you want to understand the system itself rather than just the specific skill set.
Yeah. And so, in light of that, what does it mean to construct a system that allows for students to explore interests and find how to how to remain engaged?
Yeah. And I wondered you if that's a question for culture care at large. I wonder if part of caring for culture, we started out talking about the land and being aware of what the land needs, um, and learning from the land and learning from people who know how to take care of the land. I think it's very similar in culture, and I think it's very similar in every workplace, is um, how do you do culture care in a workplace as a kind of a human resource question of maximizing potential there and even at a high level board thinking what do we do to cultivate from everything from education to productivity to this ability to see the future and nimbly create something for that future, um, rather than just being stuck in one widget, let's say, creating that and nothing wrong with that. It just keeps changing, and we just have to be aware that there's so much more type of intelligence, I guess, that is not just IQ, but obviously EQ, where, emotional intelligence, organizational intelligence, creative imagination, because that's a cultural reality that is not birthed, I don't think, by one person. I think you need consistent way of associating yourself with group of people that think generatively together and I feel like that's what culture care is about. I just started to reimagine what that would be for a movement, but I think that's precisely why we need artists and we need creative catalysts who think outside the box, think, but is really connected and is listening to culture at large.
Yeah, lots to think about there.
That's to think
What
about.
did you listen to when you were in Venice?
Oh my, talk about learning experience. We went to Italy for vacation, right? And we went because Mark Rothko's paintings were paired with Frangelico, two of my heroes, no stars. I mean, I could not go, right? So I said, we had to go to this exhibit. We said, okay, well, take a vacation, and it became the study tour because we we are kind of right now learning a lot about Vivaldi, Anthony Vivaldi, and his music. In that area, and you land in Venice, and you can go straight to the church that he was a priest at. Many people don't realize he was a priest who composed, and his orphanage, right? This actually turns out to be um, a network of orphanages, but there is an orphanage right next to the church, which is now a hotel that you can stay at. So we stayed there. Um, and asked around about Vivaldi's vision and the legacy that I mean, he's in a sense everywhere. Four Seasons is played in churches in Venice, and if you go to the uh, library, which you have to take a ferry to, we found out. You can do research on Vivaldi's music and life. And so we ended up going on the study tour, and of course, Venice Biennale was there at the same time. So I got to see some of the works. Not nearly enough time to do any of these things, but we now have a library card for Venice Academic Library where we can go back and do more research. So we were just talking about that. We would love to do that. So
So good. But I mean, when I saw the pairing, I was like, of course Mako is there. Like people have been listening to you talk and doing that pairing.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was just such a profound reality that Christopher is Rothko's son, organized this. It's just really expansive exhibits, a series of exhibits, really. And you could, go from the palace that Michelangelo designed to just so many other and of course San Marco, which is the monastery that Frangelico painted during the Black Plague. This Dominican monk was painting using expensive jewels, like materials that I use, um, to create portals into new creation. And it's just phenomenal place for me to visit. And now it's paired with Rothko's in some of the rooms. And it's beyond words what you get the experience that there.
Yeah. And all of it being built on the lagoon and the light from the water shifting over the whole place.
Yes, yes.
It changes the whole
Yeah,
atmosphere of Venice is
yeah.
so distinct.
Right, right. So the Florence is this beautiful kind of a riverscape, and then Venice is full of these just charming meandering path Um, you seriously cannot use GPS in Venice or Florence, really, because these are medieval cities that, um, because they don't want people to be able to invade, easily. So they're literally created to have these labyrinthian path. And that when you realize that, when you don't try to look up, for example, where you want to go, on GPS, it's so liberating, right? So it's you're meant to get lost and find yourself in these little crevices, looking at these wonderful craft works, or find yourself in a restaurant or cafe, and you just you realize, oh, okay, so this is what art and culture was birthed out of. Talk about culture care, uh, and that kind of sense of human, ability to create something almost against all odds, right? When you're seriously thinking about, forces invading, Black Plague, right, is affecting half of the population, and you realize all of a sudden there is something about this city that informs our time, our confusing, our, you know, time that we are forced to meander a little bit. And so there's a lot there.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
We wish you all delightful meandering paths.
Yeah, exactly. And so good to see you. And we will meander as culture carers together, into ever so complex reality of the world.
So good. Thank you,
Okay.
Mako.
Bye bye.